Hello everyone, this is Christina Trevino coming to you from very hot Baja, Mexico. I was going to do this a bit earlier, but it's extremely hot today, so I'm kind of waiting for it to cool down, though it really hasn't. But welcome and thank you for joining me. I'm actually going to just pre-record this and then release it right afterwards, just in case, because our internet has been, it's quite windy today, so the internet's kind of going on and off. But what I'm doing today, actually, this is a free sample reading, something new that I'm starting with the High Alchemy Runes. I'm going to be starting to do weekly predictions, and I'll release those every Sunday. Now, actually, the way I've set it up is that you can become a member or a subscriber to this and receive a audio. Though I might do a video recording, and then it's a private YouTube video for subscribers. So this one will be free, just so people can have an idea of what it's all about. There's many out there that already know about these runes. But I really want to bring it to a larger crowd, more people to experience them. So I'm going to do a weekly reading. I'm going to send it out every Sunday, and then, like so, 4 weeks, and then I got to figure this out still, but I think probably when that week ends, I'd like to have like a either a Google Hangout, depends on how many people sign up and how many people become members. If it's quite large, because Hangout can only have up to 9 people, but if there's a lot more, then I'm going to find another platform to use where we can actually come and meet at the end of a month and share, you know, your experience with the runes, with the weekly predictions that we had for that month. So keeping notes might be a good thing if you want to participate, and you know, see what that brings collectively with the group. So if you want to find out more details about this and subscribe, you can go to my website, which is casabelvaspata.info. So it's CASABELVASPATA.info, and it's actually on the front page of the website, and those are there. And if you no longer want to participate or receive the weekly prediction. So I want to just give a little brief introduction to the runes, these particular runes. There is going to be other people here that are already students of it. Either they're already, say, a master or a grandmaster being initiated into the runes, or Elmine students, because this was brought forth by Elmine, who's an international teacher and mystic and author and seer, who I've been, walking a path with for, I don't really know, 18 years, something like that right now. So she brings forth many, many, many profound tools, life-altering tools to use on our journey of enlightenment. And this book in particular, which is recent, sort of recent, sometime last year, I don't remember the exact date, but there's also a story as to how it came about, so you can actually find that on her website, which is spiritualjourneys.com. I'm not going to go into all of that. What I just want to do is give you a quick introduction to the Book of Runes, and this is it here. You can see it. It's a beautiful, beautiful big book. It's actually a power object, a sacred book, just because of what it contains in it. It's beautiful inside. The background of every page, I think, is all Elmine's digital artwork. So I mean, it's, she has everything exactly how she wanted it when she put it together. But I'm just going to tell you a little bit about what the Book of Runes are, and then what this. I did a reading. I did it just before I came on air, just because it would take too long for me to do this. So, and I've got it ready, but I actually want to present it to you after I just give you a little intro. So I'm going to read straight from the book because I just cannot speak as well as Almeen does, and her words are descriptive exactly as to what this is. So the greater purpose of the runes as a tool of enlightenment and understanding the alchemy of the runes, because this is very high alchemy that's taking place here. Alchemy is a science of transmutation, the adding of dissimilar components to create a leveraged result. In an alchemical equation, the sum total of the components is therefore much more than the parts added together. The 672 runes, there's 672 runes here, in this book are in a very specific order, and each has a specific value. Every set forms an alchemical equation, and jointly they form a leveraged result. When the runes are added together into a combined book, the new powerful energy that turns the book into a power object is born. The power of this book will work even if it's not read. The entire purpose of this book is the full activation of the inner and outer senses in order to dissolve the enslaving programs of belief systems. Now, there are 672 cards. There are 7 libraries, which correlate to 7 fields of perception, which also correlate to the 7 chakras. There are also 7 outer senses that have a physical response to the outer world, such as smell. And this is one sense that actually never fell in consciousness. Like when we fell into duality, it never did. So that's why a lot of people, when they smell certain fragrances, especially pure high frequency, scents, it may trigger, it triggers cellular memory, awakens you, has healing properties. It just triggers that original knowing. And then there's the taste, there's sight, hearing, touch, the visceral response of the organs, like when you have a pain in your heart or the tightening of the stomach. And then there's the automatic response of the skin, when your hair is standing up on it, you get goosebumps or chills. So those are the 7 outer responses. Now, for every external sense, which is 7, there are 96 inner senses that can be described as feelings. They're inner ripples that stir us. Each rune represents one of these internal senses, and in living them as part of our daily life, we evolve consciousness to its fullest capacity. The significance of the runes as representatives of our inner senses is that their guidance, therefore, comes from within. They are unique in that they are a tool of self-guidance and a tool of self-empowering, a self-empowering system. So really, these runes are you speaking to yourself. Now, I'm going to do a cosmic reading, if you want to say, like a weekly prediction. We are all one, but yet at the same time, we're on an individual journey. So this week prediction, even though it's for the cosmic, for the whole, right? Each one of you will have some resonance with one more in particular, or all of them in particular, hopefully, because they really are, they're in an equation, and they have a fluid blending together with the different perceptions to look at and how to apply them currently in your life as to what's going on. So even though what I'll do is a reading, say on the Sunday, and then I'm going to send it out Sunday evening, and it will be for that week. And so everybody will get the same reading, the audio recording of the reading. And you can do, there isn't a set rule in the sense of where, you say, okay, well, the first rune, I'm just going to apply that to Monday, or the second one, I'm going to apply it to Tuesday. You can do that, but you can see how they cohesively work together to bring the culmination for that week, or the unfolding, the highest potential that can occur. So it might be best to look at how, you know, they all apply, but maybe that particular day might be one that you have, you know, there's an intuitive sense here. There might be one that day that you feel whatever's going on internally and externally, how it's manifesting externally, that maybe you look at that one a little bit more in the week. So because there's 7 fields of perception, I'm going to tell you what those are, and each one of them have 96 runes. They're called libraries, but they're also the fields of perception. So there's 96 runes. So 96 times 7, 672. So this is a very large deck of cards, or runes, I should say, because there's so much more than just a card. It's a self guidance here. It's the whole goal, or the premise here is about mastering self-guidance, mastering yourself being and you in your life, because they really are you speaking to yourself. In the oneness, there's only just the one being. So within that, it's you speaking to you. Okay, so I'm going to tell you what the 7 fields of perception are and what library that correlates to. So the first library, which is the first library, which is the field of perception of shamanism, and this comes from the library that's called the White Tiger. The second field of perception, which is white magic, comes from the Mother libraries. The third field of perception is healing, and that comes from the Sacred Butterfly library. The fourth field of perception is mysticism, and it comes from the White Rose library. Fifth field of perception is metaphysics, and it comes from the Blue Light library. Sixth field of perception is Godhood, and it comes from the Lion's Gate library. And the seventh field of perception is the Unfolding Journey, and this comes from the Living library. So, and one thing else too, before I don't forget, is that each rune has an angel god associated with it. That is, it works with this particular rune, the frequency of that, and what I like when I do is I like more that I acknowledge it because it's associated with that rune. But also for me, I ask in whatever way. It's to be different for everybody, because depending on your own senses and your own intuitive sense and abilities, is that I ask that they, you know, help me with insights, or, you know, understanding, or in whatever way. Like you have to pay attention internally and externally. So whichever way life or myself speaks. So I call them forth, which I'll do. I will do that, even though I've pulled the cards. I haven't called the angels yet, but I will do that. So what I'll do actually when I do a recording, I'm playing some music in the background, which is actually Almin singing. It's called Hajika Brain Meditation. Very powerful musical meditation, but it is also used if you're initiated, because you can be initiated to the master and the grandmaster level, become a runes master. And so it is used, I know it's used in the grandmaster. I was initiated in Italy, so it was quite expanded. I don't remember every detail except for what I experienced, which was so profound. It was amazing. I felt myself become fluid, not just expansive, because I can do that very easily in the work that I do, but the fluidity of myself, like feeling myself like a liquid form, you know, and just knowing, you know, or not knowing, but I already know, but feeling myself part of everything. So it was pretty amazing. But this music is used for that also. So I'm just kind of playing that in the background. But when I do the weekly predictions, I will you know, at the beginning, just sort of have us be quiet and still, and get into a nice expanded state, where we're much more open and receptive, and then I'll, you know, proceed with the reading. So, um, which I kind of already did before I started here, because this is really my sample and introduction to it. So I'll be doing this talking in your weekly recordings that you'll receive. So this is the reading, which is, I guess it's going to start for tomorrow, from Monday. So that's the 20th until the 26th. So it applies. So it's interesting, 7 days, but again, you don't have to pick one of these each day. You can, I guess, if you want to, or really look at the whole structure, the fluidity of what these runes are saying for us for this week on a whole, but at the same time for us personally. Okay, so you'll know, because there's an intuitive self. You just need to tap into that and know that you have those abilities, and you'll see how powerful they are. The more you work with these, the more you'll see, like, it's almost like you could say they're never wrong. You know, not that it's not about right and wrong. It's just like, if you have that sense of what's happening within yourself, or what's going on, and you know, I usually pull one card a day, sometimes to that one card more days, because I feel that I still need to, you know, get more understanding or insight with this, you know, and who's not to say that if I don't, I'm not going to pull it again, because that I pulled several times. So in that regard, I just say, okay, this is what I'm going to look at, and I'm going to allow myself to speak to me, to infinite source to speak to me, to have a better understanding, because it's an amazing tool. Now, when I do readings with others, which this is a new thing, I'm going to say, becoming the Grandmaster of the Runes, and doing this practice, but it's so, oh my gosh, it's so profound, because as soon as I start, my cells are just tingling, like there's an electric charge. It gets really hot. Not that I want to get any more hot than it is right now, but it gets really hot, and I can really feel, especially when I'm doing like a one-on-one with other people, like the alchemy that's taking place, you know, with you and the client and the runes and the angel gods, and you know, all of life is just, I don't know, it's experiential. There isn't really words to say for it. I know everyone will have a different experience, but it's still pretty amazing. So let's see what the weekly prediction is this week for with the High Alchemy Runes cards. So I've pulled one from each library. Now, I have the first set of cards that were actually ever created. It's an extremely large set. Some of, I think it was either Almin's Russian office or maybe one of the Russian students, but anyways, I know they're in Russia, created these cards, and I was blessed to have them gifted to me. So they're the first ones. You can also order them from the Spiritual Journeys website, and I think there's someone else who actually made them very beautiful, actually, you know, with all the extra, because there's a meaning to the card, you know, what the card is, and then there's a little extra insight. Some of them, it's different on all of them, but so these particular cards don't have it, so I will have to reference the book, which is fine with me, but I will show you the cards. All right, so for this week, the first card that I pulled from the first library, which is the Library of Shamanism, okay, from the White Tiger. So this was card number 92. I'm going to put it up here. Hopefully you guys can see it. Oops. Okay. That's the first one, first rune. And this card is actually healing duality. And I'm going to call the angel god for this particular card to ask this angel god to be present and to assist us with further insights or understanding. So I call the angel god Araksut. And so this card is healing duality. Very interesting for the first card. And this is where, you know, we are healing the living of duality that we have been in for so long, and moving beyond that and living our highest truth. Now, there are actually some to it, and they have a tone to them. To each one of these have a tone, and this particular tone is the song of living your evolving highest truth. So these are the principles for this particular library, but then we look at how any one of them or all of them in particular can relate to this rune card, healing duality. So some of the principles related to this library is reaping the power of increased accessible resources through turning the unknowable into the known through experience. Following the guidance of the resonance of the purified heart. These are ways to heal duality. The actualizing of an endless supply of possibilities. Profound revelations from the aware participation in the unfolding moment. Being present of what's happening. Unfolding new perspectives from transcendence. Dynamic renewal of authenticity in expression. Fearless journey through infinite existence. Wow. Well, you know, I do want to mention to people who have not, this is new to them, this is a whole level of consciousness to them, but yet you feel a resonance to it, your being, your heart has brought you to this. Please try not to get too much in mind about this, instead of coming from the guidance of the heart. The heart speaks much more than the mind does. Eventually the mind will become one with the heart. But following that guidance, what resonates with you within your heart, okay? And living these principles, or at least trying to apply them to anything that's happening in your life right now. You know, I'm not going to get into all the different examples of that, but whatever is happening with you in this current moment, and come from that aware participation. These principles are the stepping stones, if you want to call it, to healing duality. So this is the first card of the week, and it's pretty interesting. And you know, it's when I first pulled it, because as an intuitive, you know, I sometimes get more than what's here, and then sometimes I don't, because what the message is here, the meaning, the principle, the insight is it, you know, and then you have to go within to understand that. So I try not to be in my mind about it too much, and so I don't want to explain too much about the card, and I'm not going to do that. I feel that, you know, in that sense, if people just take the card and look at the card here, because I know people don't have the card, so probably best that I do. I think I'm probably going to have to do this by video, because I think it's better that people see them. Now, the people out there who are already, I mean, students or have the runes, you know, they won't require this, but for those who don't, you know, look at it for a while. Even mute me, mute me afterwards, and just focus on the card for a little bit if you so choose. Because this is a frequency. This is a high frequency rune. It's a live being, really, in a sense. So you take that, feel it, and know that it speaks about healing duality. All right. So the second card for this week is which is from the second library, the White Magic, and this is the Mother Libraries, and this is card number 15. Oh, there's a bit of a glare here, I'm sorry. It's kind of what keeps dark in the back. But then sometimes I capture things on camera, which I have before. Fairies. Okay, so this card is Free Flowing Love. I have never picked that one before yet. Well, of course not, there's so many cards, but Free Flowing Love. And I call the angel god for this Bihanu. This is the song, this comes from the Song of Sincerity. The Song of Sincerity. And I'll read you the principles associated with this library. It's a very big book, so I've got to go back here. The Song of Sincerity. Oh, there's a poem here I'd like to read. And this actually comes from, it says, the 16th plate of the Book of the Elephant Wisdom. And these were presented to Elmin. This would be in the etheric. And I'm just going to actually read this because it's very beautiful. I'm going to try to read it in the language that's also here, and then I'll read it, the translation in English. It says, Ich kie uzba hiruk plut zabong verska bilt hufkla spirita ha ufbalak utul stava nun pakla usta birk stava. The mother shall make what was many as one. In the day of no space, this shall be done. The rose and the dove, the serpent and the horse as well, the eagle and the elephant and spider their secrets will tell. Ancient symbols the mother gave shall be hidden in the elephant's secret cave. Until the day all these libraries shall come into the holy city to be as the mother's libraries as one. And this is White Magic and the Song of Sincerity. Free flowing love. Some of the principles for this is authenticity as the highest form of sincerity with the self. I don't need to elaborate on a lot of these because to me they just say exactly what it is. Willingness to interact from the intimacy of the opened heart. Revealing the unvarnished true self beyond the facade of personalities. Impeccable clarity of expression. Unself-conscious transparency in spontaneous responses. I'll say that one again. Unself-conscious transparency in spontaneous responses. Automatic action in full alignment with infinite intent. Honest interactions without agendas. You can see, look at free love, the song of sincerity coming from your impeccable expression of yourself. If you see anything in the background flying around, point it out because I'm actually not looking like I normally do. All right, so the third card, interesting, the third card, which comes from the Butterfly Library. I love these cards from the Butterfly Library. And this is the card of healing. Interesting because we're beginning in the first field of perception of shamanism, which is healing duality. So now we're into the third. So the third library, and in that card, interesting, is fertility. It's number 45. Fertility. See, all the runes are different from each library. And I'm going to call the angel god for this card, which is Vribaveki. Vribaveki. And this actually has an insight to it, or really the meaning of this card, but of course it's much deeper as we go within to understand this. The situation is fertile for opportunities to be born. Multiple outcomes lie ahead. So, this is a cosmic thing, so overall cosmically this applies, but also individually each one of you can look and see how this applies in your life. So it's in the house of healing, and I'll read you a bit more about that. But just to repeat that, the situation is fertile. It's ready for opportunities to be born. Multiple outcomes lie ahead. So there is potential in several different outcomes to take place. Some people think there's only one outcome. There isn't. There's potential. Let's go to the library because I want to read the song of this particular library, and because this also has principles. This is the song of inclusive oneness. Inclusive acceptance of the value of all life through respectful and completed self-acceptance. Unconditionally embracing life with compassionate understanding. See how these apply to the field of healing. Empathic and telepathic connectedness beyond the need for words. Harmlessness through knowing all beings to be yourself. Wholeness through remembered oneness. A sense of smell, never forgot oneness. Unity within boundless diversity. Appreciating the rich and varied pageantry of eternal life. Appreciating the rich and varied pageantry of eternal life. Fertility. Yeah. See, some people might be asking, well, are you going to interpret it more? No, because I want you to be able to go within yourself. And the whole thing about these runes is us. It is us speaking to ourselves, and where we are bringing together the inner and the outer worlds. People messaging me. Okay. All right. So the fourth library is mysticism. Well, it's the white rose, but it's the field of perception is mysticism. And another amazing card. Actually, except for one, I haven't picked these cards yet myself, so it's pretty. I love them. Love them. Okay, so the fourth card. Here it is. There, number 69. This is the card of illumination. Illumination. And I like to call the angel god Klirasut. Klirasut. To help us with further, deeper understanding. And so, some of you, depending on how sensitive you are, looking at some of these might just trigger you somehow, trigger something, trigger memory, trigger in waking, trigger something. Just trust. So this one, illumination, actually this one is a little bit longer of an insight to it. So let's go to the So the meaning, first of all, the meaning of the card, illumination in this particular sense, is there is an influx of light is about to occur in your life. So again, this is on a cosmic whole, but on an individual basis for those who are participating here. Take time to digest the insights that will be yours. It is a gift of grace that will bring changes for the better. Wow. See how we have the fertility? Things are ripe, they're ready, and then you have the illumination. I mean, look at this afterwards. Come back later on, listen to this, look at that, and see how that's flowing. See what's unfolding here. I say I'm going to do a 30-minute recording, but I always no, I think it takes a little bit longer than that. But that's okay. I'm all right with that. It's not about that. I'm not confined to that. I want to share, and I want people to experience that. Okay. So this is from the field of mysticism. This is the song of cooperative surrender. So cooperating with life, surrendering, cooperating with life with infinite intent. And the principles are that you can also look at deeper with this card is the activation of endless possibilities through the alchemy produced by our unique participation with unfolding infinite intent. And you have illumination right now. This amazing. That's wow. Appreciative receptivity to the inspiration of the diversity of unfolding life. This might be a big one for people. The immaculate timing of automatic responses. The immaculate timing of automatic responses. Ponder on some of these. Trusting in the wonderment of benevolent life revealing itself to you. Revealing itself. Accessing the magic of the eternal moment through being fully present. Enthusiastic participation in a masterfully performed dance of life. An innovative response to unfolding existence through a unique perspective. An innovative response to unfolding existence through a unique perspective. One thing I'll mention, even though that didn't occur, that the runes, if a rune actually happens to be upside down, what it means with these runes is that that particular quality, insight, like whatever the particular rune is lacking. So really, more emphasis is put on this particular rune. But I didn't have any upside down in this particular reading. I just wanted to mention that. Let me put it up there a minute again if people want to. Okay, it's not. You could always pause. Hold it that long. All right. All right, from the fifth library. Whew, things are heating up here even hotter. So, from the fifth library, which is the metaphysics, and this is, the library is the blue light, and the field of perception is metaphysics. So, interesting. Interesting. So it's card number 63. And this card is sensitivity as to consequences. Sensitivity as to consequences. And I'll call the angel God for this card, which is Pri Herasul. sensitivity as to consequences. So let's see. There's a further insight with that one. Okay. 63. Sensitivity as to consequences. At oneness with the natural world and its communication. So being observing, in tune with the natural world and how it speaks to us. Even there's the internal natural world within us, you could say, and the external natural world that communicates with us. So you need to be sensitive to this. Now you get it related to, there's an even further insight here to this one, 63. Replacing experiential wisdom with the discovery of new possibilities. Replacing experiential wisdom with the discovery of new possibilities. So the wisdom that you've already gained, let that go, because truth constantly changes. And open yourself up to allow the discovery of new possibilities. And I feel like people are going, what does that mean? You know, like consequences. You know, flip how you interpret that. You know, it's not a negative sense. In a sense, it's what based on all of the components involved, and how together that unfolds, and what you allow to take place, and trusting in that. I think it's a very deep card, and it is in the field of metaphysics, so you gotta come out of your head about it. I'll let you come back to that one and ponder on it, because I do feel this one, because I'm empathic, I almost can feel, even though I'm just doing this now, to me, you know, it's time is exponential, so it's always going to be in real time as to, you know, happening in the present moment. So no matter when you're viewing this, but I can feel what's a constriction, you know, that we have within our being that doesn't get this yet, and we need to open up to it. Okay. All right. We're getting there. So we have two more. So now we're going to go to the field of perception of Godhood, which comes from the Lionsgate library. And this card is interesting. Card number 37, which is clarity through humility. Clarity through humility. And it kind of explains it all in one sense, but of course we go deeper. And I call the angel god Kiras Astra. Okay. 37. Write this one down. I think so. Yeah, so clarity through humility. So the further insight for the, see, as I said, it doesn't have more words to explain the card, because it's pretty self-explanatory. Clarity through humility, but there is a deeper insight that goes with that. And so the deeper insight to ponder on is effortless knowing through humble acknowledgement of the unknowability of existence. Effortless knowing through humble acknowledgement, that's humility, of the unknowability of existence. We can and never will know everything. We can only be in this present moment, or moments, presence right now of what's happening and the truth that exists now, and coming, acknowledging this and being humble about that. And when we do that, we allow the knowingness that exists within us and around us to come forth effortlessly. So now this is the field of Godhood. So actually I want to read this one. So, okay. So how it's referred into the perception of Godhood. From the field of perception of Godhood to access the unifying force that sustains and animates all life forms. Living Godhood implies living from an open-hearted intimacy that touches and ignites the core of divinity, the spark of the infinite in all life forms. To live from the authentic core of our being is to allow the current of Source to direct our actions and to align us with the power of infinite intent. Through the contribution of our unique perspective combined with infinite intent, a high alchemy takes place that forms and evolves our reality. Our unique experience of the expression of Source. And this has 7 tones of fertility. And really, I guess, as I say, I always say seeing the principles, but they really are principles, but they're tones. They're tones of this particular field of perception and library. So the 7 tones for Godhood are resonant awakening of the open heart, the anticipated consummation of the eternal romance, the high alchemy of engaged participation, mystical revelations of beckoning possibilities, responsive stirrings of the senses as heralds of things to come, the fertile conception of perpetually regenerated creations. Probably have to pause these to listen to them again. The hallowed marriage of one and the many. And actually, when I do like the further readings, I'm not going to go into reading all of the tones and things like that. What I'll do is I'll give you the card, I will give you its meaning, and I will give you any extra insight or principles or tones that come with it. Each library is different because how it relates to our being and our chakras and our fields of perception. So some of them may have more principles, more insights to look at, and some of them may just have that particular meaning of that card. All right, so the final one, and this is the perception of the unfolding journey, and it comes from the Living Library. So this is the 7th one, and this is, I mean, for me, you know, I'd have to look at it more, but I'm seeing the fluidity of this. But this is interesting how this card comes in this place. Also, this is card number 7. And card number 7 is full commitment. Full commitment. And I call the angel God Exparat Mishter. And so the meaning of this card is passionate participation in adventure of encountering the unknowable mystery of infinity. So, giving your full commitment to this to this whole spread and everything that's folding within infinite life. We can't know all things. We can only know something now, and we turn the unknown into the known. It's really hard. We turn the unknown into the known. And this is where we're coming from. So I'll say that again. passionate participation in the adventure of encountering the unknowable mystery of infinity. So much of life is unknown, and when we bring it into the unknown, we experience that and we understand it. So this is the culmination of this week's spread, cosmic spread, and how each one of you participate in that is up to you. And may it be a wonderful and insightful and uplifting and enlightening week for all of you. But at the same time, please, trust what comes forward. Maybe keep notes. See how what's happening, like what's happening in your life, and what particular rune might be, singing to you right now, speaking to you right now. Keep a journal if you want, and make any notes. And if you do want to participate in our meetup after a month cycle, and you want to share, you don't have to. It's not part of it. But I'll send out more info on that later on, and anybody who wants to participate, just let me know. So this is this week's weekly prediction, and I think it's a pretty amazing. They always are, but I'm saying it's a pretty amazing start, I'd have to say, for this venture that I'm doing here to share with everybody. And if anybody wants to learn more about the runes, you can either go to Almin's diary. Well, she does have a diary, almindiary.com. But for the runes in particular, you can go to her website. It's www.spiritualjourneys.com, or you can contact me at elm.christina@gmail.com. And if you have any questions or you want to share something more personal, right now, because I'm starting it, so there's just a few people joining, but of course, if that grows, it might be a bit too much for me to answer everybody. But if you do have a question or two, I'm happy to be there for you. And I really would like to actually, that's as if you don't want to share it with others, because I'd like to have sort of the meet and share group at the end of the month, where we can, share what's happening, insights, and maybe if anything, comes forth from that, a deeper understanding or whatever new revelations that might come through. So that's it. That's a weekly rune reading for this upcoming week. So thank you very much, and I hope that you enjoyed that. But I would recommend to, especially for people who this is a whole different level that they're not used to, but that's it. You wouldn't be, if you're here, there's a reason. So take time and go back, listen to this. This one is actually free, so you can play it as many times as you want. Well, even the ones that you're going to get, you can play as many times as you want. They won't never expire, but you can come back anytime. And if you have any questions, just drop me an email. All right, so I want to say thank you, everybody, and much love and blessings to everyone. And have a beautiful night.